Yes, yes.
Great. So we were saying that this is the presentation that, or the graph that's showing you the relationship between the acronyms of the value management or the earned value management, where you have the graph of the actual cost and the planned cost and the earned value. And this is usually the case on most of the projects, right? Where you will have some planned value, which is usually higher than the earned value. Now you have an actual cost, which is usually higher than what you have a plan, right? And you need, based on that, to know what's your performance at this point. I'm not sure why my mouse is not showing anyhow. At this point, you are trying to know what's your performance, and based on that performance, you will expect what will happen later on your project. So you'll know the estimate at completion, and you will know the budget at completion, and you will know estimate to completion based on your knowing your performance. That's the purpose of having those equations, and the bigger purpose is to, let's say, make a decision on if this is the case that you have this actual, it's higher than what has been planned. So what's the best action that I can do as a project manager? If this is a schedule performance, that means that you are behind the schedule. So what's the best action, knowing that my SPI or CPI or SV or CV or other equations equals whatever? And this is what you need to do as a project manager. We have a project. Okay, I thought on the screen. Could you please move the thing on the left of the screen? There is nothing to see below that one, but it's okay. Is it better, ya Sherwood? So guys, the example. We have a project with a budget at completion of 250K, which means this is what? The planned value? Is it the planned value for the completion of the project? When you will know this number, the planned value? Before kicking off the project, right? When you were preparing the cost baseline. Based on the approved cost baseline, you will have this number. We are fine? So they either tell you that this is the cost at completion or the budget at completion, or it is the planned value at completion, okay? And we have completed 40% right now. This is what? Earned percentage, right? This is what you have already earned. In order to know what is the earned value, what you will do? You need the EV, right? This is the earned value. What's the earned value? You told me this is what? This is money, right? So 40% out of the 250 will give you what? The earned value, monetary, right? The monetary value of the earned value. And while we have a plan to complete 55% without making any calculations, we have done 40%, Mr. Haytham, and we have planned 55. What's the situation?
We have completed $100,000 from the total project budget, and we're planning to complete the difference between the 40% and the 55%, which is the difference between 100,000 and 100 and probably 30, something like
Okay.
this.
Two words description of the situation.
2 words.
Behind schedule or ahead of schedule?
No, behind.
We are way behind the schedule, right? And we are maybe, we don't know, we are maybe with a cost overrun, right? The actual cost, if the actual cost to date is 112K, the actual cost, this is what you have already paid. This is the AC, right? Then calculate the EVM and other cost performance analysis equations. Can you just have a screenshot, please, online, guys, and you can just write the numbers so we can dive more into the answers? Do you want to have a try before I reveal the answers, or you want me to explain first? Okay, so please write the numbers. You will be involved in the explanation, so please make sure that you have this information. Give 1 minute. Are we cool? Let's move forward. The first thing, please do this graph if you are asked that question in the exam. 40% completed, actual cost, what has been planned, project budget at completion here. And this is what we are doing now. This is what we have spent up to the moment, and this is what we have planned to either complete or spend, and this is the full completion budget. The above information is given. Calculate the EV and the PV. The EV is the percentage of the completion, multiply by this number. The planned value is the percentage of what has been planned multiplied by this number. So the first one is 40% into 250. The second one is 55 into 250. Give me the numbers, please.
100,000 for the EV.
For the EV is
100,000.
100,000. For the PV.
Yeah, EV.
This is EV. Yes, I want the next number. For the PV,
137.5.
137.5. Let's reveal. Let's see if you are doing well. So the EV is the percentage multiplied by this number. You are 100% correct. 100,000. And the PV, the planned percentage multiplied by the BAC, which is this equation, and you are 100% correct. Great. Variance or cost variance. We want the EV minus the EC. You have calculated the EV, which you mentioned that you will evaluate or you will calculate a certain value to use in another equation. Sorry, Habibi?
It is EV or BV?
I make it BV. This is BV.
Because the bond is 55%.
Yes, so it's BV. It's a typo, sorry. Cool? So you have the EV already calculated, you can use it, and you have the PV already calculated, you can use them, right? So for the cost variance, you have the EV minus AC, and this is the value. When it is negative, what does that mean? It's a cost. It's a cost.
Below cost.
Are you below cost?
Cost.
This is what I have just incorporated here. You are not below cost. You are on a negative impact on the project. Negative value, it's always negative impact. What's the negative impact on a cost variance? Below budget or cost overrun?
Cost overrun.
So it's a cost overrun. Okay, it's not below budget. Take care of that. I'm always highlighting this because we miss this. It's negative, so it's below budget. Take care, guys, okay?
Negative is cost overrun.
Negative is always bad to the project. Okay? For the cost variance, for the schedule variance, for the cost performance index, for the schedule performance index in the equation, EV comes first. So you will easily memorize this. Okay? So you don't need to think, is it EV minus AC or AC minus EV? EV is always coming first in the equation. For which equation? For CPI and CV, which is this one, and SPI for the schedule, and SV. EV comes first in the equation. Okay? So you don't think about it. It's always a rule. It will make your life easier. Don't memorize all the results above 1, below 1, positive, negative, equals 1. No. Equals 1, you are on track. You don't need to memorize. Above 1, forget about it. I don't want to memorize. I want to memorize only one single result. Negative means bad. Okay? So negative SV means behind schedule or ahead of schedule?
Yes.
Because it's bad, right? And negative CV means cost overrun or below budget? Cost overrun. So you need only one single result to be memorized. You will solve most of the questions, okay? And if you are lucky, you will not have any of those أصلاً calculation questions. You will only ask for decisions. If this numbers equals that, what you will decide as a project manager. By the end of this, I will tell you what to decide, okay? So we have calculated what is the cost variance. It's minus 12K. Schedule variance, EV, comes first, right? When it is about cost, I want to deduct the actual cost. When is it about schedule, I want to deduct what has been planned. Okay? So EV minus PV equals minus 37K. So are you ahead of schedule or behind schedule? behind the schedule. Are you with a cost overrun or you are below budget? So both are negative, right? You are in a very bad situation, guys. You are not good managers. Let's see how to solve that. How you will solve that? You will have something we call schedule compression techniques. Schedule compression techniques that you will make your schedule faster, will complete faster. You will have crashing and you will have fast tracking. Who recalls what is crashing? Who can tell me what is crashing? And there is nothing related to ice, please.
Crashing, use more resources.
Extra resource.
Great, perfect. So, are you going to use extra resources in this situation to make your life easier and finish faster?
No, because we are running cost overrun.
Yes, you are running on a cost overrun. How you come that you will be either using extra resources or outsourcing or working overtime or whatever costs you money? Definitely you will avoid this. You'll go to the fast tracking, which is what?
The interlink activity that
Yes, playing with the relationships between the activities and changing maybe precedence and logical relationships. You make things to happen parallel. You make something before something else, change something in the network diagram, and you will definitely avoid working on the mandatory relationships or the external precedences, right? Because those are not changeable usually. You are working on the discretionary relationships and precedents and the internal relationships and precedence diagrams. We have mentioned all of that. Revisit the videos, please. So now you are familiar with what to expect out of this equation. Let's go to the next one. Cost performance index. What comes first? EV comes first. As long as you are working with cost, it's always the second thing is AC. So it's an index, so it is something over something. And I don't need to say that, right? EV comes first, and you are calculating for cost, so it's AC. It's easy to memorize, guys. And the number is 0.89, which means it is less than what? Anything in the cost performance index or schedule performance index below 1, a negative impact on the project. Okay? So if it's cost variance or schedule variance, anything minus means negative. In the index, anything below 1 means what? Means negative impact. Why is that? Because it is something over something, right? It is EV divided by AC. To equal 1, that means both are equal, right? There is nothing to get equals 1 if something or if there is any difference between those. This is a simple equation, right? And to be more than 1, what will happen? EV will be more than AC, which is the value that you have already earned more than what you have spent, which is a positive impact, right? You have done a great job. You have got more than what you have spent. Great, right? And if it is less than 1, that means this, what you have earned, is less than what you have spent. You have paid $100 and you have got a product for $50. Is it negative or positive? It's negative. So this is how you will be digesting those equations. Anyhow, the number is 0.89 and it's less than 1, then it is negative, which means that you are losing the difference from 1 to 89 in each dollar that you are spending. It's clear? And schedule performance index, EV comes first. As long as it is a schedule performance index, the second will be PV. The number is less than 1. The effect is negative on the project. It's a schedule. The negative impact on the schedule, I am behind the schedule. It's structured thinking, right? Systematic thinking. So you need to make an action or to make a decision as a project manager. Your decision is based on both schedule performance and cost performance. Cool. Estimate at completion, all of that for the same project, guys. This is what you have to be doing for your projects, especially when it's a complex project. Now, starting here on, those are used for complex projects. Okay? So estimate at completion, what is the definition? The estimated expected budget once I complete the project. It's the budgeted, what you have already planned, over the CPI, and the number is 280. You'll be spending extra or more than what you have expended or expected, sorry, with a 30k, correct? Which means it's way much more than what you have explained. And if we continue losing this, which was this, the cost performance index, if you don't make an action, you don't pay attention to that, you will keep losing this. You will be spending 280k by the end of the project instead of what you have already planned. This is why this equation is on place. If you think that there is no solution, let's say sometimes it's complicated, and as a project manager and the client and the stakeholders, you need to agree all together. This is the maximum that we can do. What will happen? While spending 30k, due maybe to changes, we don't know. If the changes, then the client needs to know that he will be paying extra 30k. And if the client is refusing to pay, you will know as a company that you will be losing 30k. If your profit is more than 30k, if your profit is less than 30k, you'll be paying the difference from your own pocket. So you see how beneficial those equations are. I know that we were not applying that in our project. So now if you are a project manager, please consider those. And if you are working on a small project, you will say that this is not applicable. My project is small. I would highly recommend that you start applying this now, so you will be progressively learning how to use those, and those will be done by heart later on. Cool? Then estimate to completion is what? From where I am standing today, from what I have completed today to the end. How much this will be costing me, correct? This is the estimate to completion from now to the end. EAC, estimate at completion, minus the actual cost, which is 168, right? This is how much more we need to spend on the project, and your company needs to consider. Does the managerial reserve cover this? Does the contingency reserve covers this? And if yes, it might be okay, but you as a project manager will be in trouble. Why are you spending all of that from the contingencies that we have? You need to keep them for maybe a force majeure, or maybe for to be converted to the company by the end if you can comply to the project plan. EAC based on our current cost performance. Some other equation. It will give us another number. AC plus PAC minus EV. It will be 262. When it's compared to our current cost performance, it will be we can improve and we can complete the project at a better performance. We spend only this amount instead of spending the 280 that we had before. So it's not better than what has been planned. I will not get back to what I have planned, but I can be spending less than extra 30. It will be extra 12k, right? So it might be considering focusing on your cost performance, getting better prices maybe, and you'll be spending extra 12k based on your current cost performance considerations. EAC by considering the SPI and CPI together. This is the equation. Okay? And can make SPI or CPI weighted. This is the rule. Make a guess that the same efficiency of the rate of time and cost. This is why we are using this equation. And we are going with this result. If you are considering both together, you will be spending way much more than the 280, right? So it says that your SPI is way much far from what you have planned. It's way much lower than what you have expected compared to your what? Your cost performance index. 73% is not a good rate for your performance, correct? So please have a better performance for your schedule and a better performance for your cost. And now, to complete performance index, it's asking, can we meet what we have budgeted based on what we have now? On the performance, let's say, enhancement and development, can I meet that? Have BAC minus EV, BAC minus AC, and I'll have also another equation considering the EAC, okay? So the first equation will give you 1.9. That means that you are not likely to hit your BAC because you are above 1. Okay? And this is the first time you'll have an above 1 with a negative impact. You need to consider that. Okay? All the previous ones, above 1 means good impact, below 1 means bad impact. Right?
Yes.
Cool.
This is only for TCPI.
TCPI.
Only for TCPI.
Yes. And now we are with the other equation considering the EAC, and now we have 0.89. Below 1 means you are more likely to hit your PAC. How come? For the same situation, one equation will give you that you are not hitting the target, the other equation will tell you that you are hitting the equation
So this is the only one that's different from the others.
based on the formula, which will tell you where to focus. You focus on this one, on the EAC and the EV and the actual cost and the BAC, and you perform based on what you have now and you make some tweaking, you will be surviving. Cool? Is it clear? The numbers are clear now. The example is clear. What to do with the answers? What expected in the exam? The first expectation to get a calculation question, which is not most likely to happen. So if you are finding difficulties to memorize the equations, please don't spend your time memorizing the equations. Just memorize only the 4 simple ones in the beginning. CV, SV, SPI, CPI, and forget about the others. If you can memorize them, then it's perfect. It's most likely you're not asked to calculate. What I want you to understand, negative, positive, above 1, below 1, what I'm focusing on, what my decision will be. Because the question will be telling you the CPI is, the SPI is, what's your decision to be made on this situation? This is the question. Your SV is, your CPI is, what you will do next. What does that mean? What are you considering? For example, if the CPI is less than 1, what are you considering? Fast tracking. If your CPI is less than 1, is the same situation. What is your best action? Changing the relationships between activities if possible. Cool? So they might be playing with the vocabs, but at the end of the day, the answer is the same. You consider that you understand the numbers, because at the end of the day, you as a project manager is not going to calculate those numbers. You're going to decide based on the dashboards that you'll have, on the reports that you have, comparing to the baselines that you have worked on to agree on them before starting the project. Those are your duties. Is it clear?